Lazar.
Hello, Treb.
How are you doing in this day?
I'm doing fine. I'm really excited to meet you.
Yes, and I am very excited to meet you as well. I know that this day you have many questions to ask, so whenever you are ready to begin, you may.
Excellent, excellent. So I have my questions prepared. I shall start immediately.
Yes!
Okay, my first question is, often I imagine or bother myself with imaginary situations. For example, I have an argument with my colleague, and after that I start imagining different varieties of scenarios for the next day to be prepared. What's your opinion on that?
Yes, in the way of these concepts that you are bringing to yourself in a prepared state to connect to them, this is very dependent on the concepts that you bring. If you are having an argument with a colleague and you are bringing concepts of resolution, of overcoming adversity, of connecting with one although opinions perhaps are different, this can be a very positive exercise. But the concept that most humans use in this way of thinking or preparing for confrontation in many ways, many entities tend to use, whether it is humor or degradingness, they are connecting to these entities in a negative mindset. They are preparing their minds to be set in a negative way. And as you know, as thoughts and beliefs is what creates your reality, that when this happens, this often leads to more conflict. It leads to a deeper state of disconnection. So while you are preparing these thoughts, as long as you are keeping them in the way or mindset of connection and agreement and overcoming adversity, this can be much more beneficial to you.
Yes, I see. Thank you. Well,
Yes!
well, the challenge I have is that they're like those, they're like negative. At least I say that they're negative, but I mean they're subconscious and they keep coming. They keep coming. It seems that at some point they prevail, and I get stuck in that negative mindset, and it gets me just out of that present state that I prefer.
Yes, this can be overcome in a few different ways of your own perpetuation. When you are connecting to these concepts and ideas, it is very well understood that these are subconscious cues, if you will, but the idea of training and preparing your mind to connect to the ideas of staying in the now and being aware of those thoughts is what will be most helpful. So when the idea comes across that I will tell this entity this specific idea, or I will tell him that it is his fault, or I will tell him that he is the one who is perpetuating the arguments and violence, in that moment, train your mind to be aware of the concepts. When you start to be aware of these thought processes that come through, then try to catch yourself in that moment and realize I am only projecting a future which entails great negativity and great disconnection with this entity, so what I must do is prepare my own mind into a positive way. There are many cues and examples that can be given to the mind that will help alleviate further disconnection. These ideas can be as simple as this entity is a portion of all that is, and I love this entity because he is a part of me, all the way to the concept of this entity's into my existence with negativity because I have projected this. You already have the understanding that every entity that appears to be outside of you is truly only a connection of what is within. So when you are facing adversity and you begin to project a thought that comes negative with your interactions of others, try to remind yourself in every moment that entity is only coming to me in a negative consequence because I have created a pattern and a belief and an action that allows this. So remind yourself that your belief that you can argue with many of your colleagues or co-workers. The idea that other people are very rude and very argumentative, all of these things. When you are connecting to those thoughts, try to stop this thought and remind yourself of your own divinity. Remind yourself that you are creating this, and that if you can adjust just a few of these belief systems to a more enlightened style of mindset and what humans would perceive to be enlightened, to remind yourself of these things, and you will see a change in your reality.
Okay, great, thank you. Great answer.
Yes!
It's exactly what I needed. So, my next question. Sometimes when I'm alone and present, it seems that my mind and ego brings up a lot of negative thoughts and a negative momentum. What's your opinion on that?
In what situations are you speaking of?
Well, when I'm alone at home and I'm just enjoying myself, I mean, I meditate and I'm just staying present, but in that situation my mind just brings up more negative thoughts than positive, I guess. I mean, I'm more...
Yes!
Okay.
Yes! These ideas and thoughts are being presented to you during a quiet time or a meditative state for a reason. These negative thoughts are showing you what your faulted belief systems are. And they are not truly faulted in the way that they are wrong or negative. As you know, nothing is wrong or negative. It is only a perception. But the way that your higher self works and the mechanics of translation of thought processes is very clear. It is love, it is connection, it is oneness. And anything that goes against this oneness, anything that goes against its resonance with source energy, will always bring back a negative feeling, a negative thought, or a negative emotion. So in these thoughts that come up, they are coming to you for a reason. So let us practice the concept of being aware of every thought in every day, and when a thought comes to you in meditation that is of a negative orientation, or what you perceive to be negative orientation, remind yourself and ask yourself one simple question. What is in my own belief system that allows this thought to come to me? It is being brought to you very specifically from the higher self. It is being brought to you so that you may examine what it is within your own emotional complex, in your own belief systems, that would allow such a thought to creep through to the conscious mind.
Okay, great. Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, you are very welcome.
Okay, my next question is, I find it difficult to draw my states from within myself, and I often boost it from external sources. For example, I go out with my friends and I'm having a lot of fun, I'm enjoying myself, then I get back home and my state immediately drops. What?
Yes, in your own home place, even though there is a specific familiarity with this, even though there is a specific comfort with this, energetically it is not resonant with you. When you are out and about with your friends, you are living in your excitement. But when you come home, there is a culmination of not only energetic precipices and diversions that connect, but there is also a concept, a belief system of what is within the house. When you go to your home, the only way that you will be able to experience a greater vibrational state in that specific dwelling is to connect more positive concepts to this. Many people in your earth or in your own culture of the world use specific permission slips, if you will, to clear the negative energy of a dwelling. There is the example of using sage and burning this. There is an example of salt upon the floor and in the doorways to alleviate negative entities and negative consequences to come into this area. So what you can do is, if you have a belief system that is supporting of this concept, when you go into your home, when you are there, try to place yourself in a very excitable mindset, in a very excitable state, and to make a blessing in each room, to clear out all negative energy and remind yourself of the positivity that is within your own self, and make this manifest outward into your dwelling. A dwelling of all entities is only an extension of what is within. This is why you notice that many people who are classified as hoarders, who have houses that have very cluttery and very dirty, these entities are truly not happy within. So it is the concept of garbage that is within and garbage that is without.
Yes, I see. I see. Great. Thank you.
Yes!
My next question. It is hard for me to speak and act quote-unquote normal while I'm doing my best to stay present in the moment in a social situation.
Yes! In the social interactions, in the social connections, many entities upon humanity do not feel comfortable with themselves. This way, they are not able to connect outwardly to other entities. If you wish to have social interactions that feel better to you, remind yourself that all of what others desire you to be is not what is within you or what is within your own consciousness to be worried about. In this concept, if you connect to other entities, you must be able to not care what they believe. If you have a complete concept of self-love, if you know that you are perfect in all ways, even if you are angry and yelling and swearing and making fun of another entity, this is a reflection of yourself. This is still perfect. All of the perfection that you are must be known. An only way to connect to this idea in a very deep way so that your interactions with others do not connect you to disconnection is to try to remind yourself of your own perfection, to love yourself at the most deepest level, to accept yourself in all ways and not worry of how others are perceiving you. This is a very important concept, and once all of humanity is able to incorporate a complete self-love, then they will notice that all interactions and relationships that are appearing to be external are truly happy and glorious and resonant with you.
Yes, great. Great. Okay, so I mean, I guess that's why because Treb, you know, when I'm with my family or when I'm with my friends and and I'm present, I start noticing that most of the conversations we lead are just old patterns, are just the same. So I guess that's one of the reasons that I'm more quiet, because there's nothing for me to say. And so yes, as you say, I guess I'm a bit sometimes worried about what is socially acceptable and that I'm supposed to be talking, you know, I'm supposed to be speaking in most of the situations.
Yes, this specific concept is very highly linked to a blockage within the throat chakra area. The throat chakra is not only a place for wisdom, but also has to do with the voice of your own soul. And in this concept, when you are connecting to other people, you must be within a practice of connecting what is in your heart to your voice. And if you are able to connect what is in your heart to your mouth and in your voice and practice among, even if it is a stranger, perhaps this will be more comfortable of a practice. Walk up to a stranger in the middle of the day and express to them an idea that you are feeling in your heart at that moment. When you see that they are accepting of you, regardless of what is being said, regardless of what is being shared, as long as you see them accept what is in your heart, then this will give you a greater practice. This will show you that what is within your heart is always going to be an exceptional extension of what is within inside of you. Then you will be able to practice this amongst people who you are more familiar with. You can work in a step and a level of people that you do not know to people that you are friendly with, or acquaintances, I believe, is the concept that you would refer to, and then to close friends, and then to family. There is an idea within humanity that seems to be very odd to the external galactic entities that perceive you and connect you always, and this is that the closer an entity is to you, the harder it is to communicate. And for us, this seems to be counterintuitive. It seems to be backwards in this idea. When you are close to an entity, to connect to them should come very easily, but for humanity this is not always the truth. So when you connect to any entity, try to practice with the ones that have least awareness of who you are, and connect them from your heart to your voice. And once your voice is expressed and you see acceptance, or you do not see them rejecting and attacking you, this will help you be more comfortable with the higher levels of friendship.
I see, great, excellent. Okay, my next question, sometimes when I meditate my pulse is rising, or my heart just beats really fast, or some emotion generates, and it kind of bothers me. I mean, it's kind of hard to meditate when your heart, at least for me, when my heart is just pumping very fast. So can you help me a little bit with that?
Yes! When you are connecting to the concept of meditation, is there a present awareness of the breathing within you?
Yes.
And what patterns do you breathe in?
What do you mean about patterns?
What is the way in which you are breathing during your meditative state?
Well, I breathe through my nose slowly, and it gets slower when I get more into the meditation.
Yes! When you are meditating next time, try to use a specific technique that will help you. Breathing in through the nose very deeply and very slowly, and then breathing outward from the mouth in the same manner, very slowly and very deeply. Fill your lungs through your nose in a slow pattern, but when you do this, visualize the concept of the color green. This is a technique that the host has been made aware of that helps alleviate anxious or anxiety style of energy. And when you breathe through your nose very deeply, hold your breath once your lungs have become full, and picture the color of green. And as you picture this color, 3 seconds after you have held your breath, exhale through the mouth very slowly, and you will begin to feel a sensation of tingling on the bottom of the feet. This is a release of all anxious and anxiety style energy, and if you are able to achieve this releasing of anxious energy, you will find that your heart rate will slow to a much greater degree.
Okay, thank you. That was very, very helpful.
Yes, you are very welcome.
Okay, my next question. When I meditate and I'm present, I feel myself that I'm more into a neutral to a negative state, while when I drink alcohol or smoke weed, for example, I get into the state I prefer, but on the other hand, later I judge myself for doing those things because I define them as negative. So can you tell me your opinion on that?
Yes, there are many points to this that I would wish to speak to you of. The very first concept is if you are using any specific substance to take you outside of a present state of mind, this cannot always be a helpful concept. If you believe that it is a positive idea, if you believe that it is useful, then yes, it can be very helpful. But with a judgment that is coming with this is what is causing the negative interaction. Alcohol is a very great tool to help open the crown chakra, but it is, as many other concepts is, it is a shortcut that does not help you go through the work of what it would take for you normally to open the crown chakra. If you are meditating in a any meditative state, and if you are unclogging all blockages that you have, the crown chakra will open up to the greatest degree that it can when you have overcome all of the other 6 chakra points and ideas. The first one being safe in your own environment, the feeling of self, of survival, of living and being. The second chakra of sexuality and excitement. The third chakra of awareness, of being in the now moment, of you versus others, the concept of you over all as an entity, as a human being. The fourth chakra of love, of connection, of living in the heart. The fifth chakra of your present wisdom and also what is coming from the heart to your voice. In the sixth chakra, the third eye, of projection, of enlightenment, of being able to visualize concepts, astral projection if you will, and also the combination of love and wisdom. Once you have a very good feeling of all of these things in your own life, the crown chakra will open more greatly. Many humans use the idea of alcohol as a shortcut to have the enlightened style feeling that they would have by working upon these things, but it is as any shortcut is within your own consciousness. If you do not go through the idea, being happy overall, the crown chakra opening will only be a temporary concept. And this is why many people become dependent on alcohol and other drugs. They enjoy the feeling of being enlightened, they enjoy the feeling of being open and happy and excited, but they do not enjoy the fact that after the inebriates have lost their ability to keep them happy, that they are now back in the state in which they started. So working with your own beliefs upon this concept will help you very greatly. If you are judging all of the ideas of the alcohol and marijuana use, then you will not experience a pleasant time after your inebriation has been gone. But if you believe that these tools can be very helpful and very useful, this can be a very great use as well. Just remind yourself the collective consciousness beliefs of these specific ideas of alcohol when it comes to the withdrawals that come from removing, the use of damage within the heart and liver and kidneys that can come with the alcohol. All of the beliefs of the other entities that reside upon Earth will affect inherently all of the use of alcohol. So try to remind yourself of all of these things and try not to judge yourself when you partake in these inebriates.
Okay, I see. Right. Yes, that's the my main challenge because I do those things and others as well, and it seems exciting for the moment. But later on, I start judging myself. Why did you do this? Why?
Yes! And if you are able to remove that judgment, you will find a very deep happiness and resonance within you.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. So, I would like you to tell me how to most effectively to deal with my old thought patterns which keep me in a negative state, because at the beginning I'm present, for example, with them, but afterwards at some point they prevail.
In what state are you speaking of? I did not hear this first word in your what state?
In a negative state. They keep me in a negative state, my old thought patterns.
I am still not understanding what is keeping you in this negative state.
My thought patterns, my thoughts, like I start thinking negative.
Yes! It is very apologetic for this idea. It was understood that another world was being presented, but now I am understanding this concept very well. When you are having these thought processes, the awareness patterns that we have spoke of is very important. To be able to connect to your own heart, to be able to connect to your own mind, one must have the greatest amount of awareness that is possible within your own existence. The concepts that most humans use awareness through their mind is one of the very worst or deepest blockage, if you will, or disconnection that most humans can have. When you are being aware of your thoughts, try not to use your mind. When you are using your analytical tool that you would call your brain, using the organ that you would call your mind, when you are using the logic-based masculine energy that you have to be aware, this is where problems can be caused. The concept is to use your heart in discernment of all thought processes. When you are thinking, I do not like the job in which I am in, I do not wish to connect to this anymore, your mind catches this through the awareness and will use an analytical tool such as this. I must stay at my job. If I do not work, I cannot pay bills. If I do not pay bills, I will not have an area to live. If I do not have an area to live, I will be homeless. And then it will bring you to a negative spiral. But if you listen to your heart and discern the same idea, I do not like my job, I do not wish to continue, then your heart will say, I must do what is felt within my heart. Because I do not like this job, there must be a reason in which it does not resonate with me. And all of this is all that needs to be processed. All of the other things are mind assessments, and they do not have a resonance with the overall concept of what your existence is. If you follow your heart, you will never be led in an incorrect way.
Okay, thank you. Great. Excellent.
Yes!
My next, it's not a statement. So, I often feel unworthy. Logically, I realize that I don't need to define myself by my past, and I want to think and act like a worthy person in the present, but in some situations and some moments it seems that I can't really do that, and I continue to feel unworthy even though I do my best to act and think and speak as the best version of myself. Can you tell me your opinion on that?
Yes, this is just what we were speaking of. It is, as you have used the exact word, logic. This is the issue. You have asserted these concepts with your mind. You are understanding how this works now. You have a great understanding of how thoughts create reality and living in positive mindsets. But this is a mental exercise. In your mentality, in your mind, in your brain usage, try to alleviate all of the things that are processing. If you run these same concepts through the heart, that I am not worthy, your heart will know better than your mind will. So when you are in these specific modes, try to use a permission slip, if you will, to connect to more love. When you begin to see that you are unworthy, when you begin to see that you are not as you wished you were, remind yourself that these are lies that your brain is telling you, that your heart knows the truth. So close your eyes in these moments, breathe in the exercise that we have taught you with the nose, the holding the breath, the color green and blowing out, and then place a visualization of love that surrounds you, that you are, in fact, love itself. And when you are able to remind yourself that you are a portion of the Creator consciousness, that you are a portion of the universe, and that all things made in the universe are perfect because they are a portion of Creator and a part of all that is, this will help alleviate the mental exercises that you begin to use.
I see. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes!
Okay, Treb, when someone offends me, it is sometimes hard for me to not to get reactive, and it is hard for me to manage my emotions. Can you help me a bit with that?
Yes! What is it that you react about? When you ask yourself this question, you will then begin to see where your beliefs are again, perhaps not resonant with the higher self. When someone says, I do not believe that you are a nice person, I do not believe that you are worthy, then you can remind yourself of the truth. Then you can remind yourself that you are this good person, that you are worthy, and that all that is happening is this entity is coming to you as a reflection of yourself, and that all entities are able to have separate truths. You very well understand the fact that truth is not a black and white concept, that truth is only relevant to each individual as their own beliefs allow them to be, as their own thoughts and own mindsets allow them. So when you know that each individual is entitled as a sovereign entity to be able to experience their own truths, and that to have someone with a different truth than you is only a very special tool that you have created to examine your beliefs more thoroughly, this will be very useful to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And that leads me to my next questions. Next question. So I know that in order to create my perfect reality, I have to transform my beliefs, but it seems like the old ones keep coming back again and again, and at some point again, I get back to believing them. Can you help me with that, please?
Yes, the adjustments of beliefs can be as easy as you wish them to be. When you are in the mindset of belief systems, you must remind yourself that thought alone, what resonates with you alone, can be all that you need to overcome any belief system. Let us say that you have a belief that you must work in order to support yourself. How are we able to change this? We are able to change this with the thought process and the use of the term that most call imagination. These can all be useful tools to remind yourself that what brings you any energy is the energy that you put outward, to remind yourself of this in a meditative state, as a mantra, as you are closing your eyes and your body is relaxed, to repeat these concepts consistently. I am able to create my own reality. I am able to manifest all what I put out as what I receive back to me. All of these things being repeated, the repetition in your own mind is almost to the way of self-hypnosis. And this is what meditation truly is. It is not a magic tool that is able to project you into a universe in which once you were not able to be projected. In all fairness and in all truth, meditation is a way to self-hypnotize yourself. And in this concept, if you are able to integrate these ideas on a repetitive nature, it will program the mind to be more tilted to believe these concepts. So this is one tool. The other tool is the concept of being able to project your own self into any energy. When you believe in the belief system that one thing is appropriate that the other is not, when you say that I am able not to experience financial means, try to use the tool that we have spoke of, imagination. When you are able to close your eyes and to see yourself working in a job in which you prefer, or not to work at all, but still be able to survive and live in this energy, even though it is seen to be ridiculous by most humans to pretend that something is happening that is not. This is not the truth. When you are placing yourself in this pretend concept, you are literally taking on the energy of this moment. So now I am pretending that I am able to achieve financial happiness without working this job that I do not wish to experience. And the more that you are placing yourself in the now, the more that you place validity of beliefs and energy, this will help readjust your belief systems.
I see. Great. Thank you.
Yes, you are very welcome.
Okay. My next question is, I know that in order to manifest what I prefer, I have to act and think as if my preferred reality is already manifested. But I have split energy because I work as a bartender, but I wouldn't be doing that in my preferred reality. On the other hand, I enjoy doing that for the moment. Also, when, for example, I want to buy something, and I do, but later I have regrets and second thoughts, my mind is telling me to quote-unquote come back to reality.
Yes, this is a classic example of the ego pulling upon your own energy. The ego is the base system that allows itself to be in a physical reality to an extent in which it is comfortable, which in it operates at the primal usage. So when you are connecting to these thought processes and excitements, the ego will often try to pull you back into its so-called reality. What you must remind yourself of consistently when you begin to have these ego style connections or ego doubts, as you perhaps would call them, try to remind yourself that in your own existence, all that you experience is created. All that you create is what you will experience. And if you are able to reconfirm this, to reaffirm in your own heart and mind that any reality is possible as long as you are willing to put in the beliefs, as long as you are willing to place consistent thought and time and energy into something, that you will be able to create this. In your preferred reality, what is your prime or most excitable job?
To be honest, no job at all, or I guess at some point teaching people metaphysics.
Yes! Then if you wish to be in this preferred reality, then start to teach metaphysics. If you have no job at all, this perhaps can be a very great excitement, but it does not allow yourself to place yourself in an energy of any kind. If you say, I just wish to not have a job, then you have nothing to become excited about. Instead of using the word job, let us use the word excitement. This gives this a new definition. This does not entail that you must work. It only shows that you are able to have fun. So let us say now your new excitement is teaching metaphysics. So what I would suggest for you to do, and what I wish you to do if it is in your excitement, is when we are done connecting in our time that we have together, to begin to go into a place in which you can record and start to speak of all of the new insights that you have had from this session. And once you have done this recording, then share it with the public in any way that you feel excited about. Once you do this, you will see that people are learning and that there are more students than teachers in the way of the definitions of these two words that humanity sees, and that all people are needing to learn these concepts. So start out with the very most basic concepts, and start out with the ones that excite you the most, and share them. There are all levels of teachers and students, and in fact when you begin to teach you also will learn more than you will be able to teach. So it is a great lesson for all involved. Once you place yourself into this energy of teaching metaphysics, this will enhance your excitement, but also will enhance your ability to create and manifest the reality in which you prefer.
I see. Great. Excellent. Thank you.
Yes!
Okay, so often the first thing that comes to my mind is the right one. But how do I recognize if the message comes from the higher mind or not? Or yes, how do I recognize that the message comes from the higher mind, not from the physical mind?
Yes, this can be very easy to do. When something resonates with you, when it feels completely right, then it is right. If you are using your mind to come to this conclusion, then you are not connecting in the correct or proper way to have something that resonates with you in a great degree. So when you have a thought process that comes to you and it feels that it is correct, then use this. If you think that it is correct, then this is not correct at all. The concept is that when you begin to doubt yourself in any moment, this is what can cause a friction. There is no correct or incorrect answer. It is only what you truly feel is correct. So when you begin to share your thoughts with others, when you begin to process all of the ideas that come, know that once you trust yourself enough, once you know that all thoughts that come to you are from a place of love, then you will have no problem in the discernment of these ideas. It is always letting your heart be your guide and always be willing to share without judgment upon yourself. Many human entities look in this way. They say that I have shared an idea with many others, and this idea does not resonate with me now. When 2 weeks ago it resonated with me, this must mean that my original thought is incorrect. And this in itself is also incorrect. The idea that 1 week before, when this idea was shared, that in the heart it felt good, this only means that you are shifting your reality. It does not mean that this thought was wrong in the moment. It only means that your truth is becoming more centered to a different place in a different direction. And this is very acceptable.
I see. Okay, great. Excellent.
Yes! I wish to express to you also that there is approximately 10 to 15 minutes left in our connection, so whenever, if you have questions that you believe are more important, you can place them in the front of the line to assure yourself that you have gotten the most important questions answered to you.
Okay. So, money is the most exciting thing for me in the moment. Is it wrong to have much money because most people want noble things? I mean, am I greedy for wanting that?
You are only greedy if you believe that you are greedy. Also remind yourself that when you want to have money in one way, that this can be very limiting. If you open yourself to the possibility of receiving things in a different format than only cash money, this will help assist you in being able to manifest. Many people believe that if I have an abundance in money, then I will be able to be happy. But this is not always true. Happiness is dependent on your excitements. Money is one way in which you can receive these things that excite you. But in the truth of matter, there are millions of ways to receive these happinesses. And if you open yourself to the idea that money is only one of several hundreds of thousands of ways to receive money, or one out of an infinite amount of ways that I am able to receive excitements, then you will be able to see that without money you are still able to sustain your excitements.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yes!
Okay, I know that in order to manifest something I have to stay in that vibration, but my mind constantly tries to figure out how the manifestation is going to happen. I can't imagine how things are going to happen without me having to do them step by step, using logic and reason. Can you help me a bit with that?
Yes, this is what we have spoke of previously. The mindset and logic and reason are not always your greatest assisters. In fact, in most cases, they can be the worst entity or worst vibration that stands in the way of your manifestations. Try to remind yourself that logic and reason have no place in the heart, and the heart is what truly creates. The mindset is great to use within the thought processes and projecting thoughts of happiness, but none of this is discerned in the mind. It is all within the heart. Remind yourself that the thought processes that you have are only a small portion of your creation, that the feeling of excitement, what is excitement to begin with? It is a love of something. It is a love of the moment. It is a love of the specific situation or the specific dynamic that you have. So love is where all of the things that happen are going to manifest. If you are in love with an idea of doing something, the love is much more powerful of a process than the mindset. The mindset only helps you follow specific guidelines of your belief patterns. When you place your mindset into your beliefs, this can be limiting as well. Then you are placing parameters and diagnostics upon the edges of all of the beliefs that you have. But when you allow your beliefs to be limitless, when you allow your beliefs to be expansive and non-inhibited, then you will begin to see your reality manifesting in ways in which you never thought possible. And this is the problem. Many entities do not believe something to be possible, so it will never manifest in that way.
I see, great, okay, excellent. So, my next question. Okay, I want to start doing astral projection, but I've read some mixed comments about it. A lot of people say that it's really scary at the beginning, that you can get paralyzed and stuff like that. And is there any chance if you do that, if you go into the astral projection mode, if I may say, that you may not come back to the physical reality?
Yes, there is this chance, but only if your belief system allows this to happen. For your body and soul to physically separate in an astral projected state, you must have a very high belief system of this. You must believe it with 97 or more % of your overall being. And when you believe it this strongly, then you will have a possibility of creating this. The astral projection state is much as your physical state is, only your ability to manifest is to a higher degree. So it is all dependent on your belief systems. I have always expressed to all entities, if you wish to astral project, if you wish to leave the physical body, you will always be safe as long as you are aligned with what you truly are. Your oversoul resides in a 7th density, the low 7th density, and when you are in your astral projected state, you are only going to come in contact with entities who are of 6th density or lower. There is ways to reach higher than this, but this is not done very often with humanity, so we will express that in your specific situation, the only entities that you will come in contact with will be 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st density entities. When you connect to these entities, if you are truly aligned with your higher self, if you are living in your excitements, if you are being you to the greatest degree that you can be, you will never be able to be affected by any of these entities. Because when you are connected to your higher self, you are connected directly to a 7th density style or energetic portion of protection in your own self. This does not allow any entity to affect your reality. It is the same in the physical realm. When you are knowing that you are your own creator, when you know that you are making your own reality, nothing can affect you. It is the same in astral, as long as you integrate a release of fear, as long as you integrate any beliefs that anything can affect you, then you will experience only truly happiness and only creativity in the astral projected state.
I see. Okay, great, thank you.
Yes, I wish to express to you that there is time for one question left, so whichever your last question that you wish to have answered, please bring this forth at this time, and we will connect to this concept.
Okay, when I would like to ask you, when you read my energy, is there something you want to tell me that will help me with my challenges? And I would like you to tell me how to stay, because often I feel very unworthy. Can you tell me some exercises to start feeling worthy more often?
Yes! Often with the feeling of worthiness, this is best set in a mantra or a affirmation in a meditative state. So when we are done speaking, perhaps the host will be able to assist you with specific concepts and details of very specific meditations, but let us go over very simple exercises that you are able to do. When you are closing your eyes, when you are breathing in a correct manner, in through the nose and out through the mouth, repetitively, very deeply, very strongly, when you have relaxed each individual portion of each body part, starting at your feet, working towards your head, every muscle relaxed. Once you have achieved this body sleeping, mind awake state, then begin to repeat the ideas and concepts in your own mind, and do this for the entire time that you are meditating. My intent is to know my worthiness. My intent is to know I am worthy. I am worthy being, and repeat one of these ideas or multiple ideas over and over and over, and very soon it will be less of a thought and it will be more of a feeling. And when you begin to feel this in your own heart, when you begin to integrate this specific energy into your own way of being and consciousness, then and then alone you will be able to understand that this is not a mental concept at all. It is a heart concept. When you begin to feel this idea, then you will truly integrate it into your daily existence. Repeat these concepts through a meditative state, and this is one way. There is also a visualization technique that you are able to use when you are relaxed in the same idea that we have expressed earlier, with the body completely asleep and the mind awake, breathing properly in the nose and out the mouth. Once you have reached this specific concept, then you are visualizing yourself sitting in a chair, and then across from you, you will visualize another entity who is sitting in another chair, and whichever entity in this world that you think most highly of, that you love the most, that you admire the most, that you see in your own mind can do no wrong, that you see and accept to the most fullest degree, this is the entity that you will have sitting in the chair across from you. You will speak to this entity. You will tell them how much you appreciate them. You will tell them how much of a difference they have made in your own life. You will tell them how great they are and how much you love them. And then you will close your eyes in your visualization. And when you reopen the eyes inside of the visualization, the entity who is sitting in the chair across from you will no longer be the entity that you once seen. It will truly be your own self. And remind yourself that the entity that you love in this world the most, that you see can do least wrong, this is the entity that you truly are. And this is why you love them so much. Because it is a reflection of what you wish was in your own energy. And this is the truth that is meant to be had from this visualization. That you are that entity. That you are a part of that oneness. That that entity is only being projected from your own insides as an entity in which you could strive to. When you see the lack of separation between that in which you admire the most and your own self, you will then be able to integrate the feeling of acceptance for oneself.
I see. Okay, thank you, Treb. You've been really helpful, and that was an amazing experience for me. Thank you very much.
Yes, and you have had an amazing experience for me as well. It is always within my greatest excitement to connect to humanity, and when I have an entity who is as excited as you are, who is willing to connect to the inside of themselves in the degree in which you do, this is what excites me the most greatest. I wish to express to you that I have had a very great connection and a very great interaction, and with these ideas being expressed, I will leave you this evening in love and in light, and we will experience each other again very soon.
Okay, thank you. Much love to you too.
Yes, and much love to you as well. Good night.
Good night.